In the farthest reaches of the Zentaur galaxy, a quiet and peaceful planet called Lyra 6 glimmered under the light of its twin suns. The surface of the planet was a mix of deep green forests, sparkling blue lakes, and rolling hills that seemed untouched by time. Its people, the Lyrians, were small, gentle creatures with shimmering skin and large, expressive eyes that reflected their emotions vividly. Their civilization was one of harmony, built on knowledge, creativity, and a deep connection with their planet. They had no need for armies or weapons because their world had been safe for centuries, but that peace was about to end. One evening, as the suns dipped below the horizon, Lyrian scientists noticed a shadow moving across their radar. At first, they thought it was a meteor, or perhaps a natural phenomenon, but soon, their sensors picked up hundreds of fast-moving ships converging toward Lyra 6. These ships were unlike anything the Lyrians had ever seen. Dark, sharp, and menacing, the vessels belonged to the Deathworlders, a ruthless species known across the galaxy for conquering planets and leaving nothing behind. The Lyrians panicked. They had no defense against such a force. Their technology was advanced in medicine and communication, not combat. The thought of their world being destroyed was unbearable. In a desperate attempt to save themselves, they sent a distress signal across the galaxy. The signal traveled for light years, carrying their plea for help. "We are peaceful," it said in every universal language. "We ask for aid. Our world is in danger." Far from Lyra 6, aboard the human starship Intrepid Horizon, the distress signal was picked up by their long-range scanners. Commander Arya Holt, a veteran of many human exploration missions, leaned over the console as the alert lights blinked. "What do we have?" she asked, her voice calm but sharp. Lieutenant Keon, her communications officer, responded, "Commander, we're receiving a distress signal from Lyra 6. It's unusual. It's not just a standard SOS. They're pleading for help urgently." Holt frowned, studying the data. "Lyra 6? That's in the Zentaur sector. That's over 1,000 light-years from here. The Deathworlders operate in this area too. Are they involved?" Keon hesitated. "We can't be certain, Commander, but the sensor readings match known Deathworlder fleet activity. If it's them, the planet won't last long without assistance." Holt took a deep breath. She was far from Earth in uncharted space, and helping the Lyrians would be risky. The Deathworlders were feared for a reason. They were relentless, heavily armed, and merciless. A direct confrontation could destroy the Intrepid Horizon and her crew. But something in the distress signal stirred her. The Lyrians weren't asking for power or weapons, they were asking for survival. Humans had always faced impossible odds. Throughout history, they had survived disasters, wars, and cosmic challenges that no one thought they could overcome. Holt knew that helping these aliens was dangerous, but it also felt like a duty. "Set a course for Lyra 6, she said finally. "Full speed. Prepare the crew. We're going to help them." The Intrepid Horizon shifted smoothly into faster-than-light travel. Its engines hummed with power as the ship leaped across the stars. On the bridge, the crew began preparations. Engineers checked the ship's weapons and shields. Scientists reviewed the Lyrians' planetary data, learning about their terrain, climate, and culture. The humans needed to understand the Lyrians if they were going to defend them effectively. During the journey, the crew had time to learn more about their new allies. The Lyrians were pacifists by nature. They lived in communities that valued art, science, and collaboration over conflict. Their technology was incredible in certain areas. They could heal almost any injury, create energy fields to power entire cities, and communicate instantly across their planet. But they had no experience with war or defense. Holt held a meeting with her officers. "We can't just fight for them," she said. "We need to teach them how to defend themselves, even in a small way. Humans survive because we adapt, because we think creatively. If we can combine that with the Lyrians' intelligence, we might just stand a chance against the Deathworlders." Lieutenant Rami, the ship's engineer, smiled. "I like the sound of that, Commander. We'll have to improvise, though. The Deathworlders don't follow patterns. Their tactics are brutal and unexpected. But humans are just as unpredictable. They won't see us coming." Holt nodded. "Exactly. We'll be a spark they don't anticipate. And if we succeed, maybe we'll give the Lyrians the courage to fight alongside us. They may not have weapons, but they have minds, and that counts for a lot." As the Intrepid Horizon traveled, small anomalies in space reminded the crew of the dangers ahead. They passed through asteroid fields where navigation required every ounce of skill, survived sudden solar flares that threatened to fry their sensors, and narrowly avoided remnants of collapsed star systems that could have torn the ship apart. Each obstacle reminded them that nothing would be easy. Despite these challenges, the crew's morale remained high. They shared stories from Earth's past, tales of humans surviving impossible odds, of explorers who turned disasters into triumphs. These stories weren't just entertainment. They were lessons in resilience, reminding everyone that danger could be met with courage and clever thinking. Days turned into weeks as they approached the Zentar sector. The stars stretched endlessly around them, glittering like diamonds against the darkness of space. For some crew members, the journey felt lonely and long. For others, it was a chance to prepare for something bigger than themselves, a chance to save an entire civilization from destruction. Finally, Lyra 6 came into view. The planet looked as serene as the scans had suggested. Its forests swayed under twin suns, its lakes sparkled like crystal, and its cities glowed softly in the dusk. But above the planet, faint traces of incoming ships could be seen, small shadows in the distance that moved with ominous speed. Holt's eyes narrowed. "That's our first warning," she said quietly. "The Deathworlders are coming. But we're here. We won't let them take this planet without a fight." Lieutenant Keon checked the communications console. "Commander, the Lyrians are responding to our signal. They're cautious, but they're grateful. They don't understand what kind of force is approaching. They've never faced real combat." Holt's lips pressed together. "Then we'll teach them. Slowly, carefully. We won't overwhelm them, but we will prepare them. Humans don't just fight, they adapt. And that's what the Lyrians need now." As the intrepid Horizon began its descent toward Lyra 6, the crew could feel the tension in the air. This mission wasn't just about strategy or technology, it was about hope. The Lyrians were relying on them, and humans had a reputation for turning the impossible into possible. The first humans would soon set foot on Lyra 6, carrying not just weapons or technology, but the spark of courage. They were about to meet a civilization that had never known war and teach them that survival sometimes required more than peace. It required ingenuity, courage, and unity. Above the forests and lakes, the twin suns dipped lower, casting long shadows across the planet. The humans stared out at the world below, knowing that the coming days would test everything they had learned, everything they believed. The Lyrians had sent out a call for help, and the humans had answered. Somewhere deep in space, the Deathworlders' fleet continued its approach, dark and unstoppable, or so it seemed. But the humans did not fear. They had faced impossible odds before. They would adapt, improvise, and fight. And if they succeeded, they would not only save Lyra 6, but also prove once again why humanity could never be underestimated. The stage was set. The peaceful Lyrians, the resourceful humans, and the approaching threat of the Deathworlders were now on a collision course. What happened next would decide the fate of a planet, and perhaps the galaxy itself. And as the first human shuttle prepared to land on Lyra 6, the crew of the intrepid Horizon knew one thing for certain. Humanity had arrived, and they would fight not just for survival, but for hope. The intrepid Horizon sailed silently through the depths of space, its hull gleaming under the distant starlight. Commander Aria Holt watched the viewports intently as the ship moved at faster-than-light speeds, leaving streaks of stars in its wake. Each crew member worked quietly, aware that the mission ahead was unlike anything they had faced before. The Lyrians' call for help had stirred something deep in their hearts, a reminder that sometimes courage meant venturing into the unknown. The journey to Lyra 6 would not be simple. The Zentar sector was known for its natural hazards, asteroid fields, magnetic storms, and remnants of ancient battles between alien civilizations. These dangers were unpredictable and unforgiving. Holt's mind replayed the warning reports from the fleet intelligence. Expect the unexpected. Deathworlders patrol this region. Navigation will be hazardous. No human has gone this far alone. Lieutenant Rami, the ship's engineer, ran his hands over the console, monitoring the engines. "Commander," he said, "we're entering a dense asteroid field. Even at our speed, we'll need precise adjustments to avoid damage. One miscalculation and we could be torn apart." Holt nodded. "Rami, do what you do best. Keep us steady. Everyone else, stay alert. This is just the first of many obstacles. Humans survive by adapting. Let's show the galaxy why. The asteroid field was a chaotic dance of rock and ice. Some chunks were as small as pebbles, others as large as buildings. The ship's navigation system beeped constantly, warning of near misses. But Rami's hands moved swiftly across the controls, adjusting the shields and engines. The crew held their breath as massive rocks passed dangerously close to the hull. It was during this tense moment that the human adaptability truly shone. The crew didn't panic. They didn't rely solely on automated systems. Instead, they combined intuition, experience, and quick thinking. Rami rerouted power to shields at the last second while the pilot, Lieutenant Mara, made split-second maneuvers to dodge incoming asteroids. When they finally emerged from the field, the crew exhaled collectively. Holt allowed herself a small smile. "See," she said, "humans do not break under pressure. We adapt, we survive, and we grow stronger with each challenge." Even as relief settled over the bridge, new challenges awaited. A solar storm loomed ahead, its vibrant energy waves stretching across space like a living thing. The storm could disrupt communications, fry sensitive equipment, and even damage the hull if they weren't careful. Keon, monitoring the sensors, frowned. "Commander, this storm is stronger than predicted. It's moving faster than our course calculations. We can try to go around it, but it will take extra time, or we could try to pass through, but it's risky." Holt considered the options. Time was crucial. The Lyrians needed them as soon as possible. Yet reckless action could destroy the ship. "We will pass through," she decided. "But we do it with caution." Rami reinforced the hull shields. Mara maintained the safest trajectory through the storm. Everyone else be ready for sudden changes. The intrepid Horizon plunged into the solar storm. Flashes of light illuminated the interior of the ship as energy waves surged around them. Alarms blared, and the crew worked tirelessly to keep the vessel steady. Systems fluctuated, and the storm's unpredictable energy threatened to override the ship's sensors, but the human crew remained focused. This was what made humans remarkable. Where other species might have relied solely on technology or retreated in fear, humans combined their ingenuity with courage. They adapted to every challenge, using their minds to compensate for the chaos around them. Holt watched her crew, proud of their resilience. After hours of tense navigation, the storm finally passed. The intrepid Horizon emerged relatively unscathed. The crew, exhausted but victorious, allowed themselves a brief moment of celebration. They had survived the storm, proving once again that human resourcefulness and determination were unmatched. As the ship approached the outer edges of the Zentar sector, new anomalies appeared. Remnants of an ancient alien war floated in space. Derelict starships, shattered satellites, and strange energy fields that interfered with navigation. Each obstacle was a puzzle, requiring careful analysis and quick thinking. Holt gathered her officers for a briefing. "The Deathworlders may be watching, but they aren't expecting humans to adapt so quickly. We've faced asteroids, storms, and derelict war zones, and we've come through. Our next challenge is to reach Lyra 6 with enough strength to help the Lyrians. That means no mistakes, no hesitation. Stay alert, stay creative, and trust each other." The Lyrians, though far away, were never far from their thoughts. Holt knew that the peaceful aliens depended entirely on them. Humans weren't just traveling across space, they were carrying hope, courage, and the possibility of survival to an entire civilization. The weight of that responsibility pressed on her shoulders, but it also fueled her determination. During the journey, the crew began studying the Lyrians' technology and culture in detail. The Lyrians had developed incredible medical advancements, capable of healing almost any injury. Their energy systems were efficient and environmentally harmonious, yet they had no understanding of strategy or defense. Holt realized that if they were going to survive the Deathworlders, they would need to combine human ingenuity with Lyrian knowledge. Lieutenant Rami was particularly fascinated by Lyrian energy systems. "These aliens are brilliant," he said, examining a projection of Lyra 6's cities. "They don't have weapons, but their energy networks could be used creatively. We could integrate traps, barriers, and defensive mechanisms that don't even resemble weapons. The Deathworlders won't know what hit them." Holt nodded. "Exactly. Humans survive because we think differently. We don't just fight, we adapt. We use the environment, our minds, and creativity to gain an advantage. If we can teach the Lyrians to think like that, we might just stand a chance." As they approached Lyra 6, the crew ran simulations. They tested strategies for defending the planet using the terrain, energy fields, and the Lyrians' knowledge. Each simulation was a learning opportunity. The humans showed the Lyrians how to anticipate movement, create distractions, and use their surroundings as advantages. Even simple lessons in timing, coordination, and improvisation became powerful tools. The journey through danger had another purpose as well. It strengthened the bond among the human crew. They had faced life-threatening hazards together, relied on each other's skills, and adapted as one unit. This unity would be crucial when they finally met the Lyrians and faced the Deathworlder fleet. Finally, after what felt like weeks of careful navigation, the first signs of Lyra 6 appeared on the sensors. The twin suns illuminated the planet, casting long shadows across forests, rivers, and cities. It was more beautiful than any human had imagined. Yet even from this distance, the shadows of approaching Deathworlder ships could be seen. Holt's eyes narrowed. "They're close," she said. "But we're here. We've made it this far, and we'll do whatever it takes to help the Lyrians survive. Humans don't back down, and neither will we." Lieutenant Keon contacted the Lyrians. "This is Commander Holt of the human ship Intrepid Horizon. We are on approach. Prepare for first contact. You are not alone." The Lyrians responded with cautious hope. Their voices trembled with fear, but also with trust. They had sent out a call for help across the stars, and humans had answered. As the Intrepid Horizon descended toward Lyra 6, the crew looked out at the planet below. It was serene, peaceful, and beautiful, a world worth saving. Holt felt a surge of determination. The journey through danger had tested their skills, courage, and unity. But it had also prepared them for what lay ahead. The Deathworlders were coming, but humans had a way of turning the impossible into possible. Holt knew that the coming days would be filled with challenges, but she also knew that humanity's strength lay in adaptation, creativity, and unwavering courage. The Lyrians were about to meet not just warriors, but mentors, allies, and friends. And as the first human shuttles prepared to land on Lyra 6, the crew of the Intrepid Horizon understood one thing clearly. The journey through danger had only been the beginning. What awaited them on the planet would test every lesson they had learned, every skill they had honed, and every ounce of courage they possessed. Humans had arrived, and they were ready to fight not just for survival, but for hope, unity, and the future of an entire civilization. The Intrepid Horizon glided smoothly into the upper atmosphere of Lyra 6. From the bridge, Commander Arya Holt and her crew watched as the forests and lakes stretched below them, untouched and glowing in the twin sun's soft light. It was a world of breathtaking beauty, fragile and serene, but one that hung on the edge of danger. Below, the Lyrians waited. They had gathered in their capital city, a network of luminous buildings woven into the trees, each structure reflecting their peaceful harmony with nature. The citizens had never seen beings like humans before. When the first human shuttles descended, carrying their small teams, the Lyrians hesitated, unsure whether these visitors were friend or foe. Holt stepped onto the soft forest floor, her boots sinking slightly into the moss. Lieutenant Keon and a small security team flanked her, while Lieutenant Rami and the communications officer carried portable equipment to interface with the Lyrian systems. The aliens approached cautiously, their large eyes reflecting curiosity, fear, and hope. A Lyrian elder stepped forward. Her skin shimmered faintly like silver in the sun, and her voice carried a calm, melodic tone. "Humans, you have come. Why do you come to us?" Holt bowed slightly in respect. "We received your call for help. Your planet is in danger. The Deathworlders are approaching. We are here to help you survive, to stand together against the threat." The elder's eyes widened. "We have no weapons, no armies. We do not know how to fight. We only know peace. Can you truly protect us?" Holt looked around at her crew, who nodded in silent agreement. "We can teach you. Humans survive because we adapt, because we use our minds, not just our strength. You have knowledge and ingenuity that we can combine with human strategy. Together, we can prepare your planet for the coming attack." The Lyrians whispered among themselves. It was hard for them to imagine fighting. Their lives had always been devoted to art, science, and harmony. Conflict was a foreign concept, almost unthinkable, but they trusted the humans. Somehow, these strangers radiated a courage and determination that inspired hope. Over the next hours, Holt and her team worked with the Lyrians to understand their planet's layout in detail. They mapped forests, rivers and mountains searching for natural advantages, Holt realized that even though the Lyrians had no experience in combat, they had knowledge of the terrain that could be invaluable. Rivers can be diverted to slow enemy ships, Rami said, studying holographic projections of the land. Forests can hide traps. Energy fields can be redirected to create barriers. With careful planning, the Deathworlders won't expect our tactics. They rely on brute force, not intelligence. That's where we have the advantage. The Lyrians listened intently, their initial fear gradually turning into curiosity and cautious excitement. One young Lyrian named Leora asked, "How will we fight?" "Will we have to destroy?" Holt shook her head. "We're not here to destroy your world. We're here to protect it. Defense does not always mean weapons. It means strategy, coordination, and creativity. If we plan carefully, the enemy will be stopped before they can cause real harm." Over the next several days, humans and Lyrians began a careful training program. Holt divided the Lyrians into small groups, teaching them basic tactics: how to move quietly through forests, how to observe enemy patterns, and how to work together as a team. Humans demonstrated how to use energy barriers to create safe zones, while Lyrians shared their knowledge of the planet's natural energy flows, which could amplify defensive systems. The first exercises were awkward. The Lyrians were not used to following orders, and their movements were slow and deliberate. But Holt was patient. "This isn't about speed or strength," she said. "It's about awareness, strategy, and thinking ahead. Humans adapt to any situation, and you can too." Rami took small teams of Lyrians to integrate their energy systems with human technology. "Your planet has natural energy flows that can power almost anything," he explained. "If we connect them to our defenses, we can create barriers and traps that the Deathworlders won't even notice until it's too late." One evening, Holt walked with the Lyrian elder through the glowing city. "Your people are resilient," she said quietly. "They may not know war, but they have courage. That is what matters most. Humans fight because we protect, and courage grows when people believe in what they are defending. Your planet, your people, this is worth defending." The elder nodded slowly. "We have always believed in peace, but perhaps peace must sometimes be defended. You show us another way, humans, a way to protect without losing our harmony." As the humans and Lyrians worked together, small signs of progress appeared. Lyrians moved faster, observed more carefully, and began to understand the value of strategy. They learned to anticipate movements, think ahead, and work together in ways they had never imagined. The humans, in turn, adapted their tactics to the Lyrians' strengths, finding ways to integrate alien knowledge with human ingenuity. Meanwhile, sensors picked up signs of the approaching Deathworlder fleet. Shadows of massive ships moved across space, silent and menacing. The fleet was larger than the humans had expected, with dozens of capital ships and hundreds of smaller vessels. Holt studied the data carefully. "They underestimate us," she said. "That will be their mistake. We don't fight like they do. We think, we adapt, and we use every advantage. Humans have survived impossible odds before. We will do it again." The Lyrians grew tense at the sight of the incoming ships. Their eyes widened in fear, and whispers spread through the city. Holt called a meeting in the largest hall where humans and Lyrians could gather together. "Look at me," Holt said, standing tall before the crowd. "I know you are afraid. I would be too. But fear is not weakness, it is a sign that you care. Humans have faced threats like this before. We know what it means to be outnumbered, to face forces that seem unstoppable. Yet we survive because we adapt, because we work together, because we do not give up. You are not alone. We will face this threat together." The Lyrians listened, absorbing her words. Slowly they began to understand. Holt's presence, calm and confident, showed them that even the most peaceful beings could rise to the challenge when guided with knowledge and courage. Over the next day, the humans and Lyrians completed the first set of defenses. They created hidden energy barriers in forests, mapped safe evacuation routes, and established communication networks. Lyrians used their unique energy abilities to detect disturbances, giving humans an early warning system for incoming ships. Holt and Rami tested the defenses with small simulations. Lyrians watched as the humans set up decoys, energy traps, and communication diversions. The exercises were successful, and the Lyrians began to smile for the first time in days. They were learning to fight without losing their harmony, to defend without becoming like the aggressors. Even the young Lyrians, once fearful and unsure, now moved with purpose. Leora, the young Lyrian girl who had asked about fighting, carefully monitored an energy field under Rami's guidance. "I never thought I could do this," she said, eyes shining. "But I can. I want to help protect my home." Holt nodded with pride. "That's exactly why humans survive. We do not give up and we do not wait for hope to arrive. We create it. And now so do you." As night fell over Lyra 6, the twin moons casting silver light across the forests, Holt walked through the city streets with her officers. The Lyrians were beginning to understand that their survival was possible. They were learning that courage and intelligence could match even the fiercest of foes. Yet the shadow of the Deathworlders loomed ever closer. Sensors indicated that the fleet would arrive within days. The humans had accomplished much, but the real challenge, the test of strategy, courage, and unity, was about to begin. Holt gathered her officers once more in the bridge of the intrepid horizon. "We've made contact. We've built trust. The Lyrians are learning, but the Deathworlders will not wait for us to be ready. The next days will test everything we've done. We must stay focused, adaptable, and united. The survival of Lyra 6 depends on it." Keon checked the sensors again. "Commander, the first scout ships will arrive soon. They'll be testing the planet's defenses. It's our first chance to see if our preparations work." Holt's eyes narrowed. "Then we meet them head-on. But remember, humans don't fight like others. We adapt, we improvise, and we never give up. That is our greatest weapon. We will show the Lyrians that even a peaceful world can rise with courage, intelligence, and unity to face the darkest threat." And as the intrepid horizon prepared for the first real test of its mission, the humans and Lyrians stood together, ready to face the coming storm. The first contact had been made. Trust had been built, and soon the true battle for Lyra 6 would begin. The stage was set. Hope and courage filled the hearts of all who had gathered. The Lyrians had a new understanding of strength, not through violence but through intelligence, unity, and bravery. And the humans, once strangers, had become mentors, allies, and the spark of determination the planet had needed for centuries. The first signs of movement appeared on the sensors just before dawn. Tiny blips, almost invisible at first, streaked across the skies above Lyra 6. Commander Arya Holt leaned over the console of the intrepid horizon, her eyes narrowing as she studied the readings. "They're here," she said calmly. "Scout ships. The Deathworlders are testing our defenses." Lieutenant Keon's fingers flew across the controls. "They're small, fast, and maneuverable. They'll probe for weaknesses, Commander, but they won't expect what we've prepared." Holt nodded. "Exactly. Humans survive by thinking ahead. Rami, initiate the first wave of energy traps. Mara, position the attack crafts. Everyone else, stay alert." The humans and Lyrians had spent days preparing for this moment. Energy barriers concealed within the forests would slow enemy ships. Decoys hidden in lakes and hills would confuse their sensors. And humans, with their instinct for improvisation, were ready to exploit any mistake the Deathworlders made. The first scout ships appeared in the sky, dark silhouettes against the twin suns. They moved with precision, scanning the planet for weaknesses. From the bridge, the Lyrians gasped at the sight. Their peaceful world had never seen anything like this. Holt spoke softly to the Lyrians. "Do not panic. Watch closely. Observe what we do. You will learn. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it." The first contact was sudden. One scout ship swooped low, aiming to strike a forest outpost. Rami triggered the hidden energy barrier. A flash of light erupted across the forest canopy, forcing the scout to veer off course. Another human shuttle dove from the trees, using its momentum to intercept the enemy. The Lyrians watched in awe as humans moved with fluid precision. Every action had a purpose. Every maneuver was calculated yet adaptable. The scout ship, confused by the sudden barrier and the shuttle's approach, was forced into a narrow valley where the humans had positioned a second trap. A series of redirected energy currents surrounded it, immobilizing the vessel without destroying it. "It's incredible," one Lyrian whispered. "They think so quickly. They adapt to everything." Holt glanced at the young Lyrian girl, Leora, who had been learning human tactics. "That's exactly what I want you to see. Fighting is not always about strength. It's about observation, creativity, and courage." Meanwhile, more scout ships approached. They tried to flank the human shuttles, aiming to outmaneuver them. Holt anticipated their moves. "Mara, split the squadron. Use the decoys. Lead them into the canyon traps. The human pilot executed the order flawlessly. Scout ships pursued the decoys, unaware that the canyon walls hid concealed energy nets. One by one, the ships were ensnared, immobilized, and unable to move. The humans disabled them carefully, ensuring minimal damage while maximizing control. The Lyrians were astonished. "We have never fought before," said the elder. "And yet, humans make it seem almost simple." Holt smiled faintly. "It's not simple. It's preparation, adaptation, and teamwork. Humans survive because we do not fear challenges. We face them and we think differently. That is why we succeed even against overwhelming odds." The scout ships began to retreat after losing half their number, but the humans knew better than to let them escape unchallenged. Rami directed a series of energy pulses along the forests, forcing the remaining scouts into narrow choke points. Mara and her team intercepted the vessels, using speed and precision to disable them completely. As the last scout ship fell, the Lyrians erupted into quiet applause. They had witnessed the first victory for their planet. It was not a glorious, destructive battle, but a smart, calculated, and successful defense. They had learned that even a peaceful civilization could defend itself with knowledge, strategy, and courage. Holt approached the Lyrian elder. "This is just the beginning. The main fleet will arrive soon. But now you know your world can be defended. You have strengths you never realized, and with guidance you can stand against even the most ruthless enemies." The Lyrians nodded, their confidence growing. For the first time, they truly believed that survival was possible. Humans had not only protected their world, they had taught them how to think, how to adapt, and how to act in the face of fear. Later, Holt gathered her crew to review the battle. "We've learned a lot," she said. "The scouts underestimated us, and we used our advantages well. But this was only a test. The main fleet will be larger, faster, and more dangerous. We must refine our strategy, strengthen our defenses, and ensure that the Lyrians are ready to contribute their knowledge and creativity. Together, we can turn this planet into a fortress they will not expect." Rami was already analyzing the data. The scouts were clever, but they fell into predictable patterns when faced with obstacles. If we anticipate the main fleet's strategies, we can use the terrain, the energy systems, and human tactics to outthink them. The Lyrians' energy manipulation will be a key advantage. They just need confidence to act quickly. Holt turned to the Lyrians, who had been observing quietly. "This victory is yours too. You stayed calm, followed instructions, and learned quickly. Courage is contagious, and you have it now. When the real battle comes, you will not be afraid. You will act with purpose." As night fell over Lyra 6, the twin moons reflected off the forest canopies, casting a soft, silver glow across the planet. Humans and Lyrians alike worked tirelessly, repairing minor damages and improving defenses. The first battle had tested their preparation and adaptability, and they had emerged victorious. It was a small victory, but a powerful one. Holt knew the main fleet would not be so easily defeated. The Deathworlders would bring their full strength, and their tactics would be more aggressive, more destructive. But humans had a way of turning the impossible into possible. They survived by thinking differently, acting creatively, and working as one. And now, the Lyrians had begun to see that they could do the same. Leora approached Holt as they walked through the glowing city. "I never thought I could do something like this," she said quietly. "I was scared. But watching you, learning from you, I feel like I can protect my world." Holt knelt to meet her gaze. "That's exactly what I want you to feel. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the choice to act despite it. You have it now, and it will guide you in the battles to come." The Lyrian elder joined them, her voice calm but resolute. "We understand now. Humans have shown us that strength does not always come from weapons or violence. It comes from unity, strategy, and the courage to act when it matters most. We will stand together and we will protect our world." As the night deepened, the first stars appeared in the sky. The humans and Lyrians looked up, knowing that the shadow of the Deathworlders loomed closer with every passing hour. But for the first time, they did not feel helpless. They had faced the scouts, adapted, and triumphed. They had learned the value of strategy, teamwork, and human ingenuity. Holt returned to the intrepid horizon, her mind focused on the next steps. "The scouts were only a taste of what's coming," she said. "The main fleet will test us in ways we can't yet imagine. But we will be ready. We've learned, adapted, and proven that even the most peaceful world can defend itself with courage, intelligence, and creativity. That is our greatest weapon, and it will guide us in the battles ahead. The humans reviewed data from the battle, refining plans and preparing simulations for the Lyrians. Each exercise strengthened their defenses, improved coordination, and boosted morale. Even the youngest Lyrians began to understand that they could contribute, that they were capable of protecting their planet alongside humans. The first battle had ended, but the war for Lyra 6 was only beginning. The Deathworlders scouts had been defeated, but the main fleet would bring far greater challenges. Holt knew that victory would require everything they had learned, every ounce of creativity, courage, and intelligence. And as dawn broke over Lyra 6, casting golden light across forests, lakes, and cities, humans and Lyrians stood together, ready for what was to come. The planet had survived its first test. Its people had found courage, and the humans had shown once again why they were a force the galaxy could not underestimate. The stage was set for the next challenge, the arrival of the Deathworlder fleet, the true test of strategy, unity, and the power of human ingenuity. The sun rose over Lyra 6, casting warm light over forests, rivers, and luminous cities. After the success against the Deathworlder scouts, the humans and Lyrians knew that their next challenge would be far greater. The main fleet was on its way, and every moment counted. Commander Arya Holt stood on a ridge overlooking the city, her eyes scanning the horizon. "We've seen what they can do," she said to Lieutenant Rami and Lieutenant Mara. "But the scouts were only a small part of their strength. The main fleet will be bigger, faster, and more ruthless. We need to turn this planet into a fortress without destroying its beauty. The Lyrians must be part of this, and they must understand that every preparation counts." Rami nodded, already calculating energy distributions. "We can create layered defenses using the planet's natural resources. Forests, lakes, and mountains can hide traps and energy barriers. Lyrian's energy systems can amplify these defenses, making them even more effective. We just need to coordinate it all." The humans divided into teams to tackle different aspects of the defense. Mara's team focused on the skies, preparing attack crafts and positioning hidden turrets in the clouds and mountaintops. Rami's team worked with Lyrian engineers to link their energy networks into defensive grids. Keon coordinated communications, ensuring that humans and Lyrians could respond instantly to any threat. The Lyrians, initially hesitant, now moved with purpose. Their confidence had grown after the scout battle, and they were eager to learn. Groups of Lyrians carefully connected their energy systems to human devices, creating barriers, sensors, and traps across forests, hills, and lakes. Their natural ability to sense energy flows made their work exceptionally effective. One Lyrian, named Vero, approached Holt with a concern. "Commander, the Deathworlders' fleet is much larger than we imagined. How can we possibly stop them?" Holt smiled. "Strength is not always about numbers, Vero. It's about strategy. We've seen how scouts can be outsmarted. The main fleet is bigger, but they are predictable in their patterns. They rely on brute force, not imagination. That's where we have the advantage. We will use the planet, your knowledge, and our creativity to defend every approach." Holt spent hours walking through the forests and cities, observing the Lyrians at work. She saw them placing sensors under tree roots, weaving energy barriers into bridges, and marking escape routes that would funnel enemies into natural choke points. Each Lyrian contributed in their own way, guided by human strategy but using their unique skills. As the days passed, humans and Lyrians ran simulations to prepare for the main battle. Small teams acted as attackers while others defended. The exercises taught the Lyrians how to think like strategists rather than passive observers. They learned to anticipate enemy movements, respond quickly, and use their planet's terrain to their advantage. Holt gathered everyone in the largest hall of the capital city one evening. The walls glowed softly with Lyrian energy, illuminating the gathered crowd. "We've done well," she said. "The scouts tested us and we adapted. Now the main fleet is approaching. This is our chance to prove that even a peaceful world can stand against overwhelming odds. Humans survive because we adapt, and now you will see that you can too. Your courage, your knowledge, and your unity are your greatest weapons." The Lyrians listened intently. Their fear had not disappeared, but it was replaced with a determined resolve. For the first time, they truly believed that they could defend their planet and that humans were not just allies. They were mentors, guiding them to a strength they had never known. Holt and Rami worked closely with the Lyrians to integrate energy fields into the forests and mountains. The energy barriers were subtle, blending into the natural landscape so the Deathworlders would not detect them until it was too late. Waterways were redirected to create hidden currents that could slow down enemy ships. Hills and valleys were marked with traps and sensors, all connected to Lyrian energy networks that could be activated instantly. Meanwhile, Mara trained the Lyrians to operate attack crafts. These small ships were designed for speed and precision rather than brute force. The Lyrians quickly adapted to piloting, using instincts and energy manipulation to navigate through forests and rivers. Humans flew alongside them, teaching formation maneuvers and evasive tactics. The bond between species grew stronger with each practice run, and the Lyrians began to see themselves as protectors rather than passive observers. At night, Holt walked among the Lyrians, speaking quietly to them about courage and strategy. "Fear is natural," she said, "but it does not define you. Courage is what you choose to act upon when danger comes. Humans survive because we do not wait for hope to appear, we create it. You have learned that now, and your planet is safer because of it." Even the youngest Lyrians, once hesitant and afraid, now took part in the preparations. Leora, who had observed the first scout battle, now guided a small team of children in monitoring energy flows and signaling potential threats. "I never thought I could do this," she whispered to Holt, "but I want to help protect my world." Holt smiled. "That's exactly why humans survive. We act, we adapt, and we teach others to do the same. Courage grows when people believe in what they are defending, and you are doing just that." As the preparations continued, the sensors picked up signs of the approaching Deathworlder fleet. Shadows of massive ships stretched across space, darkening the horizon. The fleet moved with terrifying precision, a reminder of the ruthlessness and power of the enemy. Holt studied the readings. "They underestimate us," she said. "They think this planet is defenseless, but they are wrong. We will use every advantage, terrain, energy, and human ingenuity. We will make them regret underestimating us." Keon, monitoring communications, added, "Commander, the fleet is coordinating their approach. They will strike in 2 days. We have limited time, but we've prepared well. The planet's defenses are strong and the Lyrians are ready." Holt nodded. "Then we continue. Every moment counts. Humans survive by acting, not waiting. The Deathworlders will learn that underestimating us is their greatest mistake." Over the next day, humans and Lyrians completed the final stages of preparation. Hidden energy nets were activated. Decoy structures were positioned and communication links were tested for instant coordination. Every hill, river, and forest had been mapped and fortified. Humans had taught the Lyrians not only to defend but also to anticipate, improvise, and use their unique abilities to their fullest potential. Rami and Mara reviewed the energy grids and flight paths one last time. "The planet is ready," Rami said. "We've optimized every natural feature. The Deathworlders will have no idea what's waiting for them," Mara added, "and the Lyrians are ready. They've learned quickly, adapted to strategy, and can act in coordination with humans. Their courage is remarkable." Holt watched the Lyrians one last time before returning to the intrepid horizon. "This is what makes humans strong," she said softly. "We adapt, we teach, and we inspire courage. The Deathworlders are coming, but we are ready. The planet, the Lyrians, and humans together will face them, and we will not fail." As night fell over Lyra 6, the twin moons reflected across forests and lakes, illuminating the hidden defenses and energy grids. Humans and Lyrians stood together, united in purpose and ready for the coming battle. The planet, once peaceful and unprepared, had transformed into a fortress of strategy, intelligence, and courage. And as the first shadows of the Deathworlder fleet appeared on the sensors, humans and Lyrians alike felt a renewed sense of determination. They had prepared, they had learned, and now they were ready to defend their world with every tool, skill, and ounce of courage they possessed. The stage was set for the ultimate test, the arrival of the full Deathworlder fleet and the true battle for Lyra 6. Humans had taught the Lyrians to adapt, to think, and to act. The Lyrians had embraced their newfound courage, and together they would face a threat that had once seemed unstoppable. This was more than a battle. It was a proof that even the most peaceful civilizations could rise with guidance, intelligence, and unity. And humans, as always, would be the spark that showed them the way.